The coffee maker sputtered its last drops into my mug when Maddie came downstairs, phone already glowing in her hand like some kind of digital third eye. She didn't look at me. She hadn't looked at me. Really looked at me the way she used to, in weeks, maybe months. I'd become part of the kitchen, like the toaster with the broken dial or the cracked tile behind the sink that we kept saying we'd fix but never did. Saturday morning, 9:15. The apartment smelled like the vanilla candle she'd left burning overnight in the bathroom, mixed with the burnt coffee scent that meant I'd forgotten to clean the machine again. Outside our kitchen window, a car alarm wailed 3 blocks away, rhythmic and pointless, the kind of noise you stop hearing after the first 30 seconds. "I deleted all the photos with you from my social media," Maddie said, not looking up from her screen. Her thumb moved in smooth, practiced scrolling motions. Her voice was flat, administrative, like she was reading off a meeting agenda. "They were ruining the visual look of my pages." I stood there holding my coffee mug, the chipped one with the faded company logo from a tech conference I'd attended 2 years ago in Phoenix. The handle was slightly too small for my fingers. Steam rose between us, dissipating in the cold air from the AC vent directly above the kitchen table. "Okay," I said. She glanced up then, just for a second, and I saw something flicker across her face. Surprise, maybe, or disappointment, like she'd wound up for a pitch and I hadn't swung, like she'd expected something else, an argument, tears, shouting, the kind of dramatic reaction that would prove whatever point she was trying to make. But I'm a project manager at a mid-sized tech services firm called Apex Solutions, 34 years old. I've spent the last 6 years managing software rollouts and database migrations, fixing problems that other people created, translating between developers who speak in code and executives who speak in quarterly projections. I've learned that sometimes the best response to bad data is silence while you recalculate, while you figure out what the numbers are really telling you. "It's not personal, Ethan," Maddie continued, already looking back at her screen. Her fingernails, French manicure professionally done, tapped against the phone case. "It's just that the color palettes weren't cohesive. You understand, my brand has a specific aesthetic, and the photos with you, they just didn't fit the vibe I'm going for." I understood perfectly. I took my coffee to the small desk wedged into the corner of our living room, squeezed between the bookshelf and the window that overlooked the parking lot. The desk was mine, cheap IKEA furniture I'd assembled myself when we first moved in together. Maddie's workspace was the dining table, which she'd claimed with her laptop and ring light and the small collection of products she was always photographing for her social media. I opened my laptop and waited for it to boot up. The screen flickered to life, showing my desktop, a default blue background because I'd never bothered to personalize it. I opened Chrome and navigated to Instagram, typed in Maddie's username. I didn't need to. I had it memorized. Maddie Cross Docs Lifestyle. Her grid loaded in 3 seconds. It looked like something ripped from a magazine spread. Muted beiges and dusty roses, carefully curated brunch plates, shot from directly above, sunset photos taken at golden hour with the saturation adjusted just right. Latte art, designer handbags positioned artfully on marble countertops. Maddie herself in various poses, candid shots that had probably taken 20 tries to get right. I scrolled back through her recent posts, 37 pictures in the last 2 months, not a single one of me. I checked her tagged photos. I used to be there. Us at the restaurant for our anniversary, us on the hiking trip to Sedona, us at her company holiday party. All gone, archived or deleted, like I'd been digitally erased. But there were other patterns if you knew where to look. A user named Grant Halston commented on almost everything, not just liked, commented, full sentences, stunning as always under a latte photo. "You deserve the best," under a shot of her at some rooftop bar downtown. "Absolutely beautiful," under a selfie. The kind of comments that sound friendly and professional until you notice how many there are, until you see the pattern. I opened a fresh spreadsheet. Old habit. Working in tech services teaches you to document everything. Column A, date. Column B, post description. Column C, Grant's comment. Column D, Maddie's response to his comment. Column E, time between post and his comment. I went back 3 months. The data told a story she thought I couldn't read. Grant Halston had commented on 42 of her last 50 posts. His comments appeared within minutes of her posting, sometimes within seconds. Maddie responded to his comments more often than she responded to anyone else's. Little heart emojis. Thank you, with extra exclamation points. Once, just once. You always know what to say. I switched to Google, typed Grant Halston into the search bar. LinkedIn profile, third result. Grant Halston, 36, Operations Director at Crestline Property Management, boutique firm specializing in luxury retail spaces and mixed-use developments. Corporate headshot that looked professionally done, dark suit, white shirt, confident smile, the kind of smile that said he'd never heard the word no and wouldn't know what to do with it if he had. I clicked through to his profile, scrolled down his connections. Maddie was there, connected 6 months ago. I opened Instagram again, searched for his username. His account was public. Profile picture matched his LinkedIn, same professional headshot. Grid full of the same kind of carefully curated lifestyle content Maddie posted. Expensive restaurants. His car, a luxury sedan with a distinctive hood ornament. Gym selfies. Motivational quotes overlaid on sunset photos. I went back to Maddie's page and cross-referenced his likes. He'd liked every single one of her posts for the last 3 months. Every single one. I checked the timestamps. 3:27 in the morning, 1:43 a.m., 11:52 p.m. Not work hours. I opened our joint bank account, the checking account we'd set up when we got married 3 years ago, the one my paycheck deposited into every other Friday, the one Maddie had an authorized user card for. I scrolled through the transactions. There, a recurring charge. Downtown Parking Solutions, Lot 4B, every Thursday night for the last 8 weeks, $12 each time. I opened Maddie's Google Calendar, the one she'd shared with me back when we used to coordinate our schedules, back when that seemed important. She hadn't unshared it. Probably forgot it was even connected. Thursday nights. Late team meeting, strategy session, every single week. I pulled up Google Maps, typed in the address for Downtown Parking Solutions Lot 4B. The map loaded. The parking lot was 3 blocks from the Meridian Hotel. High-end place, the kind with a lobby bar that served $20 cocktails and had velvet couches. I took screenshots, all of it. The Instagram comments, the timestamps, the parking charges, the calendar entries. Then I closed my laptop and sat there, staring at nothing. The apartment was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of Maddie moving around upstairs. Getting ready to go somewhere. She was always going somewhere lately. I picked up my phone and opened my banking app, found the account settings, scrolled down to authorized users. Madeline Cross, authorized user, debit card ending in 4382. I clicked Remove User. The system asked me to confirm, stated that removing an authorized user would immediately deactivate their card and remove their access to the account. I clicked Confirm. A message appeared. Authorized user successfully removed. Changes will take effect within 24 hours. No speech, no confrontation, no dramatic announcement. Just a simple administrative task. Money management style. I felt something shift in my chest. Not rage, not even sadness. Something colder, more focused. Control. For the first time in months, I felt like I was playing the game instead of being played. That evening, Maddie barely spoke to me. She came downstairs around 6, already dressed to go out. Jeans that probably cost more than my monthly gym membership, a silk blouse, heels that clicked against our hardwood floors. She microwaved leftover pasta and ate it standing at the kitchen counter while typing on her phone, the screen reflecting in her face. I sat on the couch, pretending to read emails on my tablet, watching her from the corner of my eye. Her phone buzzed. She smiled at the screen, a real smile, not the tight, polite one she gave me when I asked how her day was, the kind of smile that meant something. "I'm meeting Tessa at the shopping center tomorrow," she said, without looking up from her phone. "Just for a few hours. Girl time." "Okay," I said. She paused, thumb hovering over her screen. Looked at me. Really looked at me for the first time all day. "You're being weird," she said. "Am I? You're too calm. It's creepy." I shrugged. "I'm tired, Maddie. Long week. Project deadline coming up. You know how it is." She studied me for a moment longer, her eyes narrowing slightly like she was trying to read something written in a language she didn't quite speak. Then she shook her head and went back to her phone. "Whatever. I'm going out with Tessa tonight. Dinner and drinks. Don't wait up." "Have fun," I said. She grabbed her purse, designer, the kind with the interlocking logo, and headed for the door. Stopped with her hand on the knob. "Ethan? Yeah? Are we okay?" I looked at her. She was backlit by the hallway light, her face in shadow. "We're fine," I said. She nodded slowly, like she wanted to believe it, but wasn't quite sure. Then she left. I sat there in the quiet apartment for a long time after she was gone. Sat there until the sun set and the room filled with shadows and the only light came from my tablet screen. Then I picked up my phone and set an alarm for 7 a.m. Tomorrow, I was going to the shopping center too. The alarm went off at 7. Maddie was still asleep, or pretending to be. I could hear her breathing in the bedroom, slow and steady. I got up quietly, showered, made coffee in the machine that gurgled and hissed like it was angry about being awake this early. By 8:30, I was dressed and ready. Jeans, plain gray shirt, jacket. Nothing that would stand out. I left the apartment before Maddie woke up. The shopping center was a 15-minute drive from our place. One of those outdoor mall complexes that tried to look like a fancy street in some European city, but just ended up looking like an expensive parking lot with stores. The parking lot was already half full when I arrived. Saturday shoppers, families, couples walking hand in hand toward the Starbucks. I parked 3 rows back from the main entrance, in a spot with a good view of the walkways, and waited. Maddie's car pulled in at 9:45. I recognized it immediately. Her white SUV with the parking permit sticker from her gym on the back window. She parked near the entrance, close enough that she wouldn't have to walk far in her heels. She got out alone. No Tessa. Interesting. She was wearing the same outfit from last night's Instagram story, the one she'd posted at 11 p.m. from what looked like a restaurant patio. Dusty pink blouse, high-waisted jeans, sunglasses that probably cost more than my laptop. She walked into the shopping center through the main entrance, phone already in her hand. I waited 5 minutes, then followed. The shopping center smelled like cinnamon pretzels and expensive candles, and the specific scent of air conditioning pumped through too many vents. Acoustic pop music played from hidden speakers. People moved in slow currents from store to store, carrying shopping bags with rope handles. I spotted Maddie at a boutique called Lux & Lane, one of those places that sold dresses for $300 and called it accessible luxury. She was at the register, 2 shopping bags already on the counter, talking to the cashier while scrolling through her phone. I stood behind a display of decorative pillows in the home goods store across the walkway and watched. The cashier, a young woman with purple hair and multiple ear piercings and the exhausted look of someone working retail on a weekend, scanned Maddie's items, rang them up, said something I couldn't hear from this distance. Maddie pulled out her wallet, handed over a card. The cashier swiped it, frowned, swiped it again. I felt something cold settle in my stomach, anticipation maybe, or satisfaction. The cashier shook her head, said something. I watched Maddie's face change, confident to confused in half a second. "That's impossible," I heard Maddie say, her voice carrying across the walkway. Try it again. The cashier tried. Same result. I'm sorry, the cashier said, loud enough now that people nearby were starting to glance over. It's declining. Do you have another card? Maddie's fingers moved fast across her phone screen. I knew exactly what she was looking at. The banking app. The account that should have had money in it. The authorized user status that no longer existed. She looked up from her phone, scanning the shopping center like a prey animal that just realized it was being watched. And then she saw me. Her eyes locked onto mine across the walkway. For a moment, neither of us moved. We just stood there, 40 feet apart, staring at each other while shoppers moved between us like water around stones. Then my phone started ringing. I looked down at the screen. Maddie. She was calling me, while staring directly at me. I watched her face as I declined the call. Her expression went from confusion to fury so fast it was almost funny. She said something to the cashier, I couldn't hear what, and started walking toward me, leaving her shopping bags at the register. The cashier called after her, but Maddie wasn't listening. I stayed exactly where I was. Let her come to me. She stopped 3 feet away, close enough that I could smell her perfume. Something expensive and floral that she'd started wearing a few months ago. Something new. What did you do to my card? She hissed, low enough that nearby shoppers wouldn't hear, but loud enough that I knew she was barely keeping control. Money management style, I said, keeping my voice even. Calm. Her jaw clenched. A small muscle under her left eye twitched. You're controlling me, she said. This is financial manipulation. I removed an authorized user from my account, I said. That's not manipulation. That's administration. You're not entitled to my bank account, Maddie. You have your own. That account has my money in it too. No, I said. That account has my paycheck in it. Your paycheck goes into your personal account. Always has. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. You're insane, she finally said. Maybe, I said, but I'm not broke. Someone nearby laughed, a sharp, surprised sound. I glanced over and saw a woman pretending to look at scented candles while obviously listening to our conversation. Maddie's face flushed red. You'll regret this, she said, her voice shaking. I swear to God, Ethan, you'll regret this. I'll tell everyone what you're really like, how controlling you are, how you manipulate me. Go ahead, I said. She stared at me like she'd never seen me before. I mean it, she said. I'll ruin you. We'll see, I said. I took a sip of the coffee I'd bought from the food court on my way in. It had gone lukewarm and tasted like burned water, but I drank it anyway. That's when I noticed him. A man walking toward us from the direction of the parking garage entrance. Tall, maybe 6'1", 6'2", clean-shaven, mid-30s, wearing dark jeans and a tailored jacket that probably cost more than my monthly car payment. Designer sneakers that somehow looked both casual and expensive at the same time. He walked with the kind of confidence that only comes from never being told no, from always getting what you want. He was looking directly at me, and then he said my name. Ethan? Not a question, a statement, familiar, like we were old friends running into each other at the grocery store, except I'd never seen this man before in my life. Maddie's face went white. Nothing creeps me out quite like a stranger using my name. Maddie took a half step back, her hand moving to her phone like it was a weapon she didn't know how to use. The woman with the scented candles wasn't even pretending not to watch anymore. She was fully turned toward us, holding a jar labeled Autumn Harvest and staring with the fascinated expression of someone watching a reality show. The man stopped a few feet away and smiled. Perfect teeth, the kind you pay for. Whitening strips and professional cleanings and probably veneers. Ethan Cross, he said again, extending a hand. Grant Halston, I've heard a lot about you. I didn't shake his hand. I just stood there, coffee cup in one hand, the other in my jacket pocket, and looked at him. Really looked at him. Took in the details. Expensive watch. Not Rolex. Something more subtle. Tag Heuer maybe. Wedding ring tan line on his left hand, but no ring. Hair styled with product that probably had words like pomade or clay on the label. Cologne that smelled like cedar and something else I couldn't identify. The kind of scent that costs $100 an ounce. His smile didn't waver when I didn't shake his hand, but something changed in his eyes. A flicker of irritation maybe, or calculation, like he was recalibrating his approach. From Maddie, he added, dropping his hand smoothly, turning the failed handshake into a casual gesture toward her. We work together, well, adjacent companies, marketing synergy events, cross-promotional campaigns, that kind of thing. Right, I said. Maddie jumped in too fast, her voice artificially bright. Grant's just a colleague. We've done a few projects together, brand partnerships. He's with Crestline Property. They manage some of the retail spaces we market for. She's being modest, Grant said, still looking at me. His smile was still there, locked in place like it was held by invisible wires. Maddie's one of the most talented brand strategists I've worked with. Real eye for aesthetics, visual coherence. She understands the importance of curated presentation. I let the silence hang there for a beat too long, just long enough to be uncomfortable. Grant's smile tightened at the corners. The woman with the candle was now holding her phone at waist level. Recording, probably, or taking pictures. This was going to be someone's social media story later. Drama at the mall! With 3 fire emojis. A mall security guard drifted closer. Older guy, gray mustache, the kind who'd seen everything and was just counting down to retirement. He pretended to look at a directory map near us, but I could see him watching in his peripheral vision. So how long have you two been working together? I asked, directing the question at Grant, but watching Maddie. About 6 months, Grant said before Maddie could answer. Since the spring campaign launch, she really brought fresh ideas to the table. 6 months, I repeated. That's funny. Maddie told me she started working with Crestline 8 months ago. Maddie's face went pale. It was preliminary meetings at first. The actual project didn't start until spring, Grant interrupted smoothly. Exactly. The groundwork was laid earlier, but the real collaboration began in April. April, I said. Right around the time you started commenting on all her Instagram posts. Grant's smile finally cracked. Just a little, just enough. I support my colleagues' personal brands, he said. It's good networking. At 2 a.m, I keep irregular hours. So does Maddie, apparently. I turned to her. All those late Thursday meetings, those must be exhausting. Ethan, she said, her voice low and warning. Don't do this here. Do what? Ask about your work schedule? Grant stepped forward slightly, positioning himself between Maddie and me. Not quite aggressive, but definitely protective. Territorial. I think maybe you should take a walk, buddy, Grant said. Cool off a little. You're making a scene. Am I? I looked around. The candle woman was definitely recording now. The security guard had stopped pretending to look at the directory. A couple near the smoothie kiosk had paused their conversation to watch. Seems pretty calm to me. You're harassing your wife in a public place, Grant said. That's not cool. I'm talking to my wife, I corrected. You're the one who inserted yourself into the conversation. Speaking of which, does your wife know you're here? Grant's jaw clenched. His hands, which had been relaxed at his sides, curled into loose fists. My personal life is none of your business, he said. Funny. You seem pretty interested in mine. Maddie grabbed Grant's arm. Let's just go. This isn't worth it. Listen to her, I said. She's good at knowing when to leave. Grant took a step toward me. The security guard straightened up, hand moving to his radio. You want to be careful, Grant said, his voice dropping low. Making accusations you can't prove. That's slander. That's actionable. I haven't accused anyone of anything, I said. I asked questions. Are questions illegal now? They are when they're designed to harass and intimidate. Gentlemen, the security guard said, finally stepping in, we're going to need you all to move along. You're disturbing other shoppers. Of course, I said. I was just leaving anyway. I stepped around Grant, made sure not to make contact, and started walking toward the exit. Ethan, Maddie called after me. I stopped, turned around. She was standing there with Grant beside her, looking torn between fury and something else. Guilt, maybe, or fear. We need to talk, she said. At home, tonight. I'll be there, I said. I should get going, I said, stepping around them. I made sure to give Grant plenty of space, didn't touch him, didn't do anything that could be construed as aggressive. Enjoy your shopping. I walked toward the exit, feeling their eyes on my back the entire way. Didn't look back, didn't hurry, just walked at a normal pace like nothing had happened, like my heart wasn't hammering against my ribs. Behind me, I heard Grant's voice, low and urgent. He's unstable, Maddie. You need to be careful. And Maddie's response, barely audible. I know. In my car, I sat for a moment with my hands on the wheel, staring at the dashboard. My hands were shaking slightly, adrenaline probably, or rage, or both. Grant Halston. I pulled out my phone and opened a browser. Typed, Grant Halston Crestline Property Management. The company website loaded, professional, sleek design, photos of luxury retail developments and mixed-use properties, staff page with headshots. There he was. Grant Halston, Operations Director. Corporate bio that said he'd been with the company for 5 years, previously worked in commercial real estate development, had a degree from USC. I opened LinkedIn, same headshot as the website, same professional polish, 500+ connections, skills endorsements for property management, retail development, stakeholder relations. I scrolled through his connections. Maddie was there, connected 8 months ago. I opened Instagram, searched for his username, Grant Halston, public account, same professional headshot, grid full of carefully curated lifestyle content, expensive restaurants. I recognized some of them from Maddie's posts, the same rooftop bar, the same poke place he'd just mentioned. His car, a luxury sedan with a distinctive grille, gym selfies, motivational quotes. I went back through his posts. There, a photo from 6 weeks ago, him at some outdoor event, holding a cocktail, standing in front of a branded banner. Caption, Great turnout for the Crestline Summer Mixer, networking done right. In the background, barely visible, partially cropped, Maddie. I screenshot it. Then I opened my email and searched for Maddie's name, scrolled back through calendar invites, dinner reservations, shared documents, found what I was looking for, our joint credit card statement from 3 months ago. I opened the PDF and searched for parking. Downtown Parking Solutions, Lot 4B, first charge, 12 weeks ago, Thursday night, 11 p.m. I pulled up Google Maps, typed in the address. The parking lot was 3 blocks from the Meridian Hotel. I zoomed in on the satellite view. The lot was small, tucked between buildings, the kind of place you'd park if you didn't want your car in a hotel garage where valets might remember you. My phone buzzed. A notification. Instagram DM request from an account I didn't recognize. The profile picture was blank, just the default gray silhouette. The username was a random string of numbers and letters, user 8472639. The message was short. We need to talk about Grant. I stared at it. Spam, probably, or a bot, or someone trying to... Another message came through before I could finish the thought. I'm his wife. My name is Renee. I sat in my car in the shopping center parking lot, watching families walk past with their shopping bags and read the message 3 more times. Then I typed back, "Who is this?" 3 dots appeared immediately. She was watching, waiting. Renee Halston, Grant's wife. We need to talk. I looked up at the shopping center entrance. Maddie and Grant were probably still in there, probably trying to figure out what just happened. Probably, "I'm not spam," another message appeared. "I'm real, and I know what he's doing." I started typing, "How did you find me?" "Instagram. I've been tracking his activity. Saw your wife's page. Saw you in old photos before she deleted them. Put two and two together. I'm sorry to approach you like this, but I need to know what I'm dealing with, and I think you do too." I stared at the screen. "Can we meet?" I typed. "Somewhere public." The reply came in seconds. "Yes." "When?" I suggested a coffee shop near my office. The place was called Common Grounds, a generic name for a generic space. Fluorescent lights that made everyone look slightly jaundiced. Laminate tables. The smell of burned espresso and someone's attempt at a lavender latte. Cameras visible in every corner. Public. Safe. Neutral territory. I got there first, ordered a black coffee from a barista who looked like she'd rather be anywhere else, and sat at a table near the window where I could watch the door. Renee Halston arrived exactly on time. I recognized her from the description she'd sent. Brown hair, gray sweater, I'll be carrying a leather portfolio. She looked tired. That was my first impression. Not crying tired or dramatic tired. Just exhausted in the way someone gets when they've been dealing with something heavy for too long. Mid-30s, maybe 37 or 38. Brown hair pulled back in a low ponytail. Minimal makeup, slacks and a gray sweater and practical flats. She carried a slim leather portfolio under one arm and a phone in her other hand. She scanned the coffee shop, spotted me, and walked over. "Ethan?" she said. "Yeah, Renee?" She nodded and sat down across from me without ordering anything. Set the portfolio on the table between us. Her hands were steady. No trembling, no fidgeting. Just calm, controlled movements. "Thank you for meeting me," she said. Her voice was steady, controlled. No tremor, no tears, just facts. "I know this is strange. I know you have no reason to trust me." "Why should I trust you?" I asked. "You shouldn't," she said, "but I can prove what I'm telling you is true." She opened the portfolio and pulled out a tablet, turned it on, waited for it to load, then turned it toward me. A spreadsheet, column headers, date, time, location, social media activity, credit card charges, calendar entry, notes. I felt something click in my chest. Recognition. "You made a spreadsheet," I said. "I work in corporate compliance and HR consulting," she said. "I document things. It's what I do. It's how I stay sane." I leaned forward and looked at the data. The spreadsheet went back 9 months. Every entry was color-coded. Cross-referenced. Timestamps matched to location data, matched to social media posts, matched to credit card charges. Green cells indicated confirmed data points. Yellow meant probable, but unverified. Red flagged discrepancies between what Grant claimed and what actually happened. It was beautiful, methodical, thorough. It looked exactly like something I would have made. "I've been married to Grant for 9 years," Renee said, watching me read her data. "Legally, we're still married. He likes to tell people we're separated. We're not. We live in the same house, share the same bank account, file joint taxes, sleep in the same bed most nights." I scrolled through the spreadsheet, saw patterns emerge: Thursday nights, late arrivals home, new charges at restaurants and hotels, social media activity that didn't match his claimed locations. "I recognized your wife from a vendor event 6 months ago," Renee continued. "Crestline contracts with her company. They market some of the retail spaces we manage. I didn't think much of it at first. Just another professional connection. But then I started noticing things." "What kind of things?" I asked, not looking up from the tablet. "Late nights. New cologne. He switched from the one he'd worn for years to something different. Younger. He started caring about his Instagram again. He'd barely posted for years. Then suddenly he's curating his grid like it matters. Gym memberships, new clothes. checking his phone constantly and turning the screen away when I walked by. She paused. The classic signs. I've seen them before. I looked up at that. Before? This isn't the first time, Renee said. Her voice didn't change. Still steady, still factual. There was someone 3 years ago, a woman from his office. That time I didn't have proof, just suspicion. He convinced me I was paranoid, jealous, that I needed therapy for my trust issues. Did you go to therapy? Yes. The therapist told me that sometimes our instincts are right. That documentation is self-protection, not paranoia. She tapped the tablet. So that's what I've been doing. Documenting. Did you confront him this time? Once. 2 months ago. He said I was being paranoid again. That Maddie was just a colleague. That their interactions were purely professional. She pulled out her phone, opened the Photos app, and showed me a screenshot. Text messages between her and Grant. He said I was manufacturing problems because I was bored, that I should find a hobby. I read the messages. Grant's tone was dismissive, condescending, turning everything back on Renee. So I stopped confronting him and started collecting evidence, she said. I handed the tablet back to her, leaned back in my chair. The coffee shop hummed around us. Someone ordered a caramel macchiato extra hot. The espresso machine hissed and gurgled. 2 college students at the next table were arguing about a group project deadline. Why now? I asked. Why reach out to me now? Because Grant's getting sloppy, she said. And when Grant gets sloppy, he gets dangerous. Dangerous how? He doesn't fight fair, she said. He fights dirty, lies, smear campaigns, turning people against each other, making himself the victim and everyone else the aggressor. He's done it before, at work, when a manager questioned his expense reports, with friends who called him out on lying, with his family when they suggested he might have a problem. What kind of problem? Control, ego, the need to always be the center of attention, the need to win. She met my eyes. He can't stand losing, can't stand being wrong. If you corner him, if you make him look bad, he'll destroy you. Has he done that to you? He's tried, told his family I'm unstable, told our mutual friends I'm jealous and controlling, told his co-workers I'm the reason he's stressed. She opened a different folder on her tablet, more screenshots, texts from Grant to his brother, painting Renee as irrational, messages to friends, making himself the victim of her accusations. But I kept records, timestamps, screenshots, proof. He can't make me the crazy wife when I have documentation that contradicts every lie. I looked at the evidence she'd compiled. It was overwhelming, detailed, damning. You really do document everything, I said. It's the only way to protect yourself from someone who rewrites reality, she said. Grant lives in a world where he's always the hero, where everyone else is either supporting character or villain. If you threaten that narrative, he edits you out or turns you into the antagonist. Sounds like someone I know, I said, thinking of Maddie's Instagram grid, the careful curation, the deletion of anything that didn't fit her aesthetic. Renee nodded. They're similar. That's probably why they found each other. What do you want from me? I asked. Verification, Renee said. You have access to things I don't. Joint accounts with Maddie, calendar overlaps, receipts from places they've been. If we pool our information, we can build a timeline that's airtight, something neither of them can talk their way out of. Why not just leave him, file for separation, move on? I am leaving him, she said, but I'm doing it the right way, clean separation, legal documentation, lawyer already retained. No room for him to spin a story where I'm the unstable one who's making false accusations to hurt him. I understood that. More than she probably realized. I'd already started thinking the same way. Building files, taking screenshots, creating a record that couldn't be disputed. And if I say no, I asked, then you're on your own, and Grant will tear you apart piece by piece while your wife watches and helps him do it. He's probably already started. The Instagram posts. The suggestions that you're controlling or unstable. That's his playbook. He isolates his target, then destroys their credibility so no one believes them when they fight back. I thought about Maddie's Instagram story from last night. The vague post about emotional safety and recognizing when someone crosses a line. The careful wording that implied victimhood without making specific accusations. He has started, I said. Renee nodded slowly. Then you know what you're dealing with, and you know you need help. She slid a piece of paper across the table, an email address handwritten in neat block letters, a phone number below it. Send me anything that corroborates a pattern, she said. I'll do the same. No illegal surveillance, no hacking, no wiretapping, no burner phones or private investigators, just facts. Things we have legitimate access to. Things that would hold up if we needed them to. I picked up the paper, folded it carefully, put it in my wallet. One more thing, Renee said, standing up. She looked down at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. Sadness, maybe, or pity. Grant panics when he's cornered. When he realizes he's losing control, he doesn't think, he reacts. He'll lash out, make threats, maybe more than threats. You need to be ready for that. What do you mean more than threats? I mean he's pushed me before, grabbed my arm hard enough to leave bruises when I wouldn't drop a subject, thrown things, not at me, but near me, close enough to scare me. She pulled up her sleeve and showed me a faint yellow-green bruise on her forearm, fading, but still visible. This was from 3 days ago. He grabbed me when I asked him where he'd been on Thursday night. I stared at the bruise, felt something cold settle in my stomach. Have you reported that? I asked. Not yet. I'm documenting it, taking photos, building a case. If I report one incident, he'll spin it. But if I report a pattern... She pulled her sleeve back down. That's different. I'll be careful, I said. She picked up her portfolio, tucked the tablet inside, zipped it closed with precise, controlled movements. I'm sorry you're going through this, she said. I really am. No one deserves this. You too, I said. Yeah, she said quietly. Me too. She left the coffee shop without ordering anything. I sat there for another 15 minutes, staring at my now cold coffee, thinking about spreadsheets and bruises, and the fact that somewhere in this city, 2 people were probably having a very different conversation about me, about how I was the problem, the threat, the one who needed to be managed. Then I pulled out my phone and sent Renee the parking garage charges from our joint credit card. She replied within an hour. Grant told me he was working late at the office on every single one of these dates. I have his calendar screenshots, and the texts he sent me saying he'd be home late because of work. I sent her back the Google Maps location of the parking lot. 3 blocks from the Meridian Hotel, she replied. I know that lot. That's not where Crestline's office is. I know, I wrote back. A long pause. Then, what are you going to do? I looked at the message for a long time before answering. I don't know yet, I typed. But I'll let you know when I figure it out. Be careful, she wrote, and document everything, everything. You're going to need it. I put my phone away and finished my cold coffee. It tasted like burnt metal and regret. But it was fuel, and I was going to need fuel for what came next. Maddie came home at 2 a.m. I was awake, sitting in the dark living room with my laptop, reviewing the spreadsheet I'd been building, cross-referencing Renee's data with mine, finding the overlaps, the patterns, the lies that lined up too perfectly to be coincidence. I heard her car pull into the driveway, heard the engine cut off, waited. 30 seconds passed. A minute. I could picture her sitting out there in the driver's seat, checking her makeup in the rearview mirror, rehearsing whatever story she was about to tell me. The front door opened, closed softly, like she was trying not to wake me. She didn't turn on the lights. Ethan? Her voice was soft, careful, testing. Are you still up? Yeah. I heard her shoes on the hardwood floor, those expensive heels she'd been wearing when she left at 7, clicking toward me in the darkness. She sat down on the couch next to me. Close. Closer than she'd sat in weeks. Close enough that I could smell her perfume and something underneath it. Cigarettes, maybe, or someone else's cologne. That cedar scent I'd smelled on Grant. "I'm sorry about today," she said. "At the shopping center, I overreacted. It was just embarrassing, you know? Having my card declined in front of everyone. In front of Grant." I didn't respond. Just kept my eyes on the laptop screen, the spreadsheet glowing in the darkness. "I know things have been hard between us lately," she continued. Her hand found my arm in the darkness, warm fingers on my skin. "But we can fix this, Ethan. We can go to counseling. We can work on communication. We can be better. I can be better." Her voice had that pleading quality I used to fall for. The vulnerability that made me want to protect her, fix things, make everything okay. Not anymore. "Did you drive yourself home?" I asked. She paused, her hand stilled on my arm. "What?" "Your car. Did you drive it yourself, or did someone drop you off and then you moved it?" I drove myself. Why are you asking me that?" "Just wondering. You were gone for 7 hours. That's a long time for a strategy meeting." "It wasn't just the meeting. We went to dinner after. The whole team." "The whole team," I repeated. "What's that, 6 people? 7? 5 plus me. And Grant?" Silence. Her hand pulled away from my arm. "Grant was there, yes. He's part of the collaboration. I already told you that." "Right. The collaboration." I closed my laptop, turned to look at her in the darkness. I could barely see her face, just the outline of her features in the dim light from the street lamp outside. "What restaurant?" "What? What restaurant did you go to?" The Italian place. On 5th Street. Marcello's." "Marcello's closed 3 months ago," I said. "It's a sushi place now." I saw her face change even in the darkness, saw her realize she'd been caught. "I meant the sushi place," she said quickly. "I always forget the name. We used to go to Marcello's, so I still call that whole block." "Stop," I said. "Ethan, just stop. I'm tired of the lies, Maddie. I'm tired of pretending I don't see what's right in front of me." She stood up abruptly. The couch cushions shifted with her weight. When she spoke again, the softness was gone from her voice. "You're being paranoid," she said. "You're creating problems that don't exist." "Am I?" "Yes, and it's pushing me away. Your jealousy, your controlling behavior, cutting off my access to money." "My money," I corrected. "Our money. We're married. What's yours is mine." "That's not how it works. You have your own income, your own accounts." "Which you clearly think gives you the right to control me financially." I stood up too. We faced each other in the darkness like boxers in a ring. "I removed an authorized user from my personal account," I said. "That's not control. That's basic financial management." "You did it to punish me, to humiliate me." "I did it because I wanted to see what would happen, and what happened was interesting." "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means Grant was there awfully fast when your card got declined, like he was already nearby, like maybe you'd planned to meet him. He was getting lunch. At the same time you were shopping. What a coincidence." She turned away from me, her silhouette rigid. "I'm going to bed. This conversation is insane." "Did he drive you home tonight?" I asked her back. She stopped at the bottom of the stairs. Didn't turn around. "No. Because I can check, you know. I can look at the location history on your phone. It's shared with the family plan." "You wouldn't." "Why not? You're always checking my location, making sure I'm where I say I am." She turned then, and I could see her face in the light from upstairs. Fury mixed with something else. Fear. "You know what your problem is, Ethan?" she said. "You can't let things go. You hold on to every little thing, every perceived slight, until it poisons you. Until it makes you into someone I don't even recognize anymore. Funny, I said. I was thinking the same thing about you. She went upstairs without another word. I heard the bedroom door close. Lock. I sat back down on the couch and opened my laptop, pulled up the location history from our shared phone plan. Maddie's phone had been at the Meridian Hotel from 8 p.m. to 1:45 a.m., not at a restaurant, not at a strategy meeting, at a hotel. I screenshot it, sent it to Renee. Then I opened a new browser tab and searched for Grant's car. The luxury sedan I'd seen him with keys for at the shopping center. I already knew it was leased through Crestline Property Management. Renee had confirmed that when we'd exchanged information. Company vehicle. Assigned parking spot at the office building on 7th Street. I pulled up Google Maps. Street view of the Crestline office, 3-story building, modern design, glass and steel, ground floor parking garage with a gate, employee spaces in the back lot behind the building. I zoomed in. The back lot was open. No gate, no visible cameras pointed at the parking spaces, just a flat asphalt expanse with painted lines and cars. I wasn't going to sugar his gas tank. That's an idiot legend that doesn't even work. Modern fuel systems are sealed, and sugar doesn't dissolve in gasoline anyway. It just sinks to the bottom of the tank and does nothing. I wasn't going to slash his tires or key his paint or smash his windows. I was going to make him paranoid, make him feel like someone was watching, someone new, make him scared. I called Kyle at 2:30 in the morning. Kyle Torres. We'd gone to college together at Arizona State, stayed friends after graduation even though our career paths had diverged completely. I went into project management and software. He went into AV and security contracting, setting up sound systems for corporate events, managing equipment logistics, handling installations for venues and conference centers. Practical guy, good with tools, better with planning, the kind of friend who'd help you move without asking questions, but who'd also tell you if you were being an idiot. "This better be important," he said when he answered. His voice was thick with sleep. "It is. I need a favor." "It's 2:30 in the morning, man." "I know. I'm sorry, but I need to know something." A pause. I heard rustling on the other end. Him sitting up in bed, probably. "What's going on?" Kyle asked, his voice clearer now, concerned. "I need to know if there's a way to make someone think their car has been tampered with without actually damaging it." Silence on the other end. I could hear him thinking, processing. "You're scaring me a little," he finally said. "I'm not going to hurt anyone. I'm not going to do anything illegal. I just need to get into someone's head." "Whose head?" "The guy who's sleeping with my wife." More silence. "Jesus, Ethan, are you serious?" "Yeah." "Does Maddie know you know?" "She knows I suspect. She doesn't know I have proof." Kyle exhaled, long and slow. Okay. Walk me through what you're thinking." "I'm thinking I want him to feel watched, followed. I want him to question things, be paranoid, look over his shoulder, without confronting him directly." "Right, because if I confront him, he'll just lie. He'll turn it around on me, make me the bad guy." "So you want psychological pressure?" "Exactly." Kyle was quiet for a moment, then, "Stink bomb." "Explain." "Sealed fish. Something really pungent. Mackerel works great, or sardines if you want to be really cruel. You zip tie it under the car bumper or near the wheel well where the cabin air intake is. Doesn't damage anything. Completely removable, but the smell seeps into the vents and the interior through the HVAC system. It's subtle at first, then it gets worse. Drives people absolutely insane." "How bad are we talking?" "Bad enough that they'll think something's seriously wrong with the car. Bad enough that they'll take it to a mechanic and waste time and money. Bad enough that they'll be paranoid every single time they get in. Checking under the seats, looking in the trunk, wondering what the smell is and if their car is falling apart." "And it's not permanent?" "No. Once you remove the source, the smell fades after a few days, especially if they detail the interior." But the psychological damage? That lasts longer. I thought about it. That's perfect. Ethan, Kyle said, his voice serious now. Are you sure about this? Because once you start down this road— I'm already down this road, I said. I'm just deciding whether to walk or run. He sighed. When do you want to do this? Tonight. Now. Before I change my mind. It's almost 3 a.m. I know. That's why it's perfect. No one's around. Where's the car? His office parking lot, back section. No cameras on the employee spaces. You checked? I checked. Another long pause. You're really committed to this, Kyle said. Wouldn't have called you if I wasn't. Okay, he said finally. Okay. Give me 20 minutes. I'll bring the zip ties and gloves. You get the fish. Thank you, I said. Don't thank me yet. If this blows up in your face, I'm gonna say I told you so. Fair enough. We met at a 24-hour grocery store on the edge of town. One of those massive places that never closes, with fluorescent lights so bright they make midnight feel like noon. The parking lot was nearly empty. Just us, a handful of cars belonging to night shift workers, and a security guard sitting in a booth near the entrance, scrolling through his phone. Kyle pulled up in his truck, a beat-up Ford with equipment cases visible in the bed. He got out carrying a small duffel bag. Zip ties, work gloves, and a headlamp in case we need it, he said. You got the fish? Not yet. Let's get it together. We walked into the store. The night shift stalker, a kid who looked about 19, wearing headphones and stocking cereal boxes, barely glanced at us. We found the seafood section. Everything was wrapped in plastic, sitting on ice in refrigerated cases. Mackerel, Kyle said, pointing. That one. The whole fish, not the fillets. I grabbed the package. It was cold and slippery in my hands, the fish staring at me through the plastic with one dead eye. We paid at the self-checkout. The machine beeped cheerfully as I scanned the mackerel. The receipt printed $8.47, $8.47 to ruin someone's week. You're really doing this, Kyle said as we walked back to our cars. Yeah, I said. I really am. You know this doesn't solve anything, right? It doesn't fix your marriage. It doesn't make the cheating go away. I know, I said, but it makes me feel less powerless. And right now, that's what I need. Kyle nodded slowly. All right, let's go. We drove to the Crestline office building in Kyle's truck, left my car at the grocery store, safer that way, less traceable. The office building was dark, 3 stories of glass and steel, completely empty at 4 a.m. The front parking lot had security cameras pointed at the entrance and the main spaces, but the back employee lot, just like I'd checked on Google Maps, had nothing. Grant's sedan was easy to spot. Vanity plate, Grant HSTN, Grant Halston. He probably thought it was clever. The car was parked in the far corner, under a tree that blocked most of the ambient light from the street lamps. Perfect. Kyle worked fast. He pulled on the work gloves, opened the package of mackerel, and wrapped it in an extra layer of plastic to keep the smell contained until we were ready. Then he got down on his knees next to the rear bumper. Hold the light, he said. I turned on the headlamp and pointed it at the undercarriage. Kyle reached up into the wheel well, found the space near the cabin air intake, and secured the fish package with 3 zip ties. Tight. Professional. Like he'd done this before. This is either genius or the dumbest thing I've ever helped someone do, Kyle said, standing up and pulling off the gloves. You said that already, I reminded him. It bears repeating. We were back in his truck and gone in under 3 minutes. As we drove away, I looked back at Grant's car sitting alone in the dark parking lot. Tomorrow morning, he'd get in, start the engine, turn on the AC, and slowly, gradually, the smell would start to seep in. You good? Kyle asked. Yeah, I said. I'm good. No, you're not, he said. But you will be. I didn't argue. We drove back to the grocery store in silence. I got in my car, thanked Kyle again, and headed home. The sun was starting to rise when I pulled into my driveway. The sky was that weird gray-blue color that means morning is coming whether you're ready or not. I went inside quietly. Maddie's bedroom door was still closed. I sat down at my laptop and waited. At 11:30, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "What did you do to my car?" I read it 3 times. Then I blocked the number. My phone buzzed again 30 seconds later. Different number. "I know it was you, Ethan. I know you did something." I blocked that one too. Then I sent a message to Renee. "It started. He's panicking." She replied immediately. "Be ready. He's going to escalate. When Grant panics, he gets violent." I looked at her message for a long time. "I'm ready," I typed back. But I wasn't sure if that was true. I decided to follow them, just once. Not for proof. I already had proof. Renee and I had built an airtight timeline. Parking charges, social media timestamps, calendar overlaps. The data didn't lie. But I needed to see it with my own eyes. Make it real. Turn spreadsheet cells into actual human beings doing actual things. Thursday night, 7 p.m. Maddie said she had a late strategy meeting. She left the house wearing the same outfit she'd posted on Instagram that afternoon. Tight black jeans, a silk blouse the color of champagne, leather jacket that probably cost more than our monthly rent. "Don't wait up," she said, kissing me on the cheek. Perfume and lip gloss and the specific emptiness of someone who's already somewhere else in their head. I waited exactly 5 minutes after she left. Timed it on my phone. Then I got in my car and followed. She drove downtown. I stayed 3 cars back. No Hollywood stuff. No dangerous maneuvers. Just steady following, keeping her white SUV in sight. I almost lost her twice. Once at a red light, where I had to choose between running it or losing her. Once when she changed lanes suddenly without signaling. But I kept up. She pulled into the parking garage on 4th Street, the same one from the credit card charges. 6 levels, dimly lit, concrete pillars casting long shadows under the flickering fluorescent lights that made everything look sickly and unreal. I parked on the street a block away and walked. The garage smelled like motor oil and exhaust and something organic. My footsteps echoed off the concrete walls. I took the stairs instead of the elevator, quieter, less visible. 2nd level, mostly empty. A few scattered cars. 3rd level, more cars. I moved slowly, staying close to the walls, using the pillars for cover. And then I saw them, Maddie and Grant, standing between a row of cars about 40 feet away. His hand was on the small of her back. She was laughing, her head tilted up toward him. He said something I couldn't hear. She laughed again and playfully pushed his chest. Not a work meeting. I pulled out my phone, not to film them, not to take pictures. I wasn't going to be that person. Instead, I texted Kyle. "I'm at 4th Street Garage, 3rd level. Timestamp this. If something happens, you know where I was." Kyle replied immediately. "Got it. What's going on? You okay?" "Fine. Just documenting. Be careful, man." I put my phone away and turned to leave. I'd seen enough. That's when I heard footsteps behind me. Fast. Purposeful. "Ethan." I stopped. Turned around slowly. Grant was 10 feet away, hands in his pockets, leaning against a concrete pillar with his shoulder like he'd been waiting for me. Like this was all according to some script I hadn't read. "Funny running into you here," he said. His voice echoed slightly in the concrete space. "Is it?" I asked. "Small city." "Not that small. Small enough that you keep showing up wherever Maddie and I happen to be." He pushed off the pillar and started walking toward me. Not fast, just steady, confident. "Shopping center. Now here. That's an interesting pattern." "I could say the same about you and my wife." "Your wife and I work together," Grant said. He stopped about 5 feet away. close enough that I could see the parking garage lights reflecting in his eyes. You, on the other hand, this looks a lot like stalking. I was just parking, I said. On the third level of a garage a mile from your apartment? Try again. I didn't respond. Here's some advice, Grant said, taking another step closer. Let it go, walk away, find someone new, move on with your life. Maddie's already moved on, you should too. Moved on, I repeated. Yeah, she's told me everything, Ethan, about how controlling you are, how you manipulate her, how you cut off her access to money to punish her. He shook his head, the picture of concerned sympathy. Is that what she told you? That's what I can see with my own eyes. Does your wife know you're here? I asked. His expression changed, just for a second. A flash of something, panic, maybe, or rage, before he smoothed it back into that practiced smile. Renee and I are separated, he said. That's not what she told me. The smile disappeared completely. You've been talking to Renee? His voice went flat, cold. We had coffee. He stepped forward, closing the distance between us. His shoulder bumped mine, not hard enough to be a clear shove, but enough to send a message, physical, threatening. You have no idea what you're doing. I didn't move, didn't step back, just stood there and looked at him. Renee is unstable, Grant said, his voice low now, almost a hiss. She's been harassing me for months, making up stories, lying to people. Anything she told you is fabricated. She needs serious help. Your wife says hi, I said. His face changed completely. The mask cracked. For just a moment, I saw what was underneath. Rage, fear, calculation all mixed together. And then he smiled again. But this time it was different. Colder. More real. You think you're clever, he said. You think you're the only one who can pull receipts and build timelines and document things? I didn't answer. Maddie's already drafting her story, he continued. Controlling husband, financial manipulation, stalking behavior, harassment. By the time she's done, no one's going to believe a single word you say. You'll be the bad guy, the crazy ex who couldn't let go. He patted my shoulder, hard enough to make me take a half step sideways, and walked past me toward the stairwell. See you around, Ethan, he called back. Or maybe not. For your sake, I hope not. His footsteps echoed away down the stairs. I stood there in the concrete throat of the garage, surrounded by empty cars and fluorescent lights and the smell of motor oil, and pulled out my phone. Started documenting. Time, 8:47 p.m. Location, 4th Street Garage, Level 3. Witnesses, none threat level, moderate to high. I took photos of the garage level, the cars, the pillar Grant had been leaning against. Then I sent everything to Renee. Her reply came fast. He's panicking. This is when he's most dangerous. Watch yourself.